Hey everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. I'm pretty stoked over how my gift box turned out. I think it's very classy and very pretty and elegant. I think it would make perfect packaging for Mother's Day or for brides or for anybody you wanted to have the, gift presentation have that extra special touch. So I'm working with the Mod Floral die to do my hot foil stamping. And even though the low profile dies aren't designed for hot foil stamping, they work great. So take a look at what you got. And I'm also using the 2-in-1 box. I've got a half a sheet of white cardstock, and I'm working with the Rose Gold Crafter's Companion paper foil. So this foil is meant for paper surfaces, not for multi-surfaces, and it has a slightly different finish than their gold. I don't know how to explain it. It's shiny, but it's a different kind of shiny. It's not matte, but I don't know. I think it's gorgeous myself, and I love the color. So I'm just going to take two pieces and have those ready to go. And they need to be a little bit larger than the Mod Floral die here that I'm working with. I'm going to use some washi tape to secure that to my cardstock because I don't want it to shift when it goes through the Gemini machine. And I preheated my hot foil platform, and then I'm just going to set that with the foil. The pretty side of the foil is against the die, and the ugly side of the foil is against the paper. And then I'm going to put the cover plate on and add a 110-pound cardstock shim and start the timer. So my timer is set for 16 seconds. I preheated it to low because I always start with that to see what I get. And I learned when I did my first initial test that this die needed an additional 110-pound shim. It may be an 80-pound shim, but I had a 110-pound shim handy, so I just used it, threw it on there. It worked great. So every machine is calibrated differently, and you have to determine what works with your machine and your dies to get the best results. So a little bit of experimentation, and then make notes of what worked, and I write it on a Post-it note and stick it inside the packaging with the die so I know the next time that's what I need to do to get that result. So I am going to reposition this die once again. I need to get more coverage on this cardstock so that I can completely cover my whole box with this pretty floral pattern. So I'm just going to use the hinge method here with the washi tape and flip that back because I know that's where that die needs to be to get what I want. And then I'm going to come in with my piece of foil and go ahead and get that placed. Go ahead and preheat the machine again because I leave my platform disengaged whenever I'm switching things out because I'm always afraid I'm going to overheat it and make it warp. So I'm always disengaging the platform in between projects, and then I just push it back in when I'm ready to get going with the next one. I don't know. Some people don't do that. They just leave it, going. That's what I prefer to do. So once I've got that sent through the Gemini, I'm going to go ahead and lift that up off my surface. Normally I keep it flipped over the other side and let it cool, but I know it's a lot prettier on camera when you get to see the foil peeled away. That's the magic. I already knew it was going to be magic, but so you can see the magic. I flipped it over, and I use those magnetic tweezers just to make sure I don't end up scratching anything on the surface of the foil onto the cardstock, or if the die is too hot, I don't want to burn my fingers. So I like using those magnetic tweezers. So now I can determine where I want to put that 2-in-1 box. And this is one side. You need two of these panels to create the full box. So I sent that through and it came out and it die cut beautifully. I'm like, holy smokes, this is going to be so pretty. So now I need to get the other side, but the kicker here is that you have to flip the die over and die cut from the opposite side of your pattern in order to get the matching half. So I'm going to flip that paper over and add my die to it. So as you can see, I'm going to be cutting through the back side of my pattern here. And to see that, I just took it to a window and I was able to see where it was going to show up because then the light, shines. This won't work with dark cardstock, but with lighter cardstock, you can see through the paper and position that where you need it. Put some washi tape there and then send it through the die cutting machine. And there you go. So I cut through the back side, the reverse side of my pattern there to get both sides of the box. I'm going to set those aside because there's also a tag in the 2-in-1 box die set, and I wanted to use that with the sentiment here. And this is one of the casual greetings hot foil sentiments that I want to use, and it's love you muchly because I love my mama muchly. So I just want to get that one sentiment. So I preheated the platform, and with the Gemini foils, I find that it's not as much the heat as much as it is pressure. And I learned after my first test that I needed to send it twice through the machine. So I'm heating it up once. I did not need a shim. I just needed to send it through the machine twice while it was still warm enough to get a complete transfer. And wow, that just worked great. So I made a note of that and tucked it into the packaging with my hot foil stamp. So now I'm just going to peel that away. Now I had enough scrap left over from the box pieces that I cut that I could just foil onto that. And then I'm going to use the matching or coordinating die set to cut that sentiment out because I don't need the others. I had a little bit of overfoiling there from the next sentiment on that large hot foil greeting set, but I didn't need that. It was going to get cut off anyway because I was using the die, so I didn't worry about it. Now I'm going to start assembling my box. So I crease all my fold lines, and then I'm going to use some double-sided sticky tape and go ahead and attach that to one of the long flaps. And then before I thought about it, I added the double-sided sticky tape to the short flaps, on the short end there. And then I realized after I put the long sides together to create the box, you got to have those short ends opposite each other. And once I did that, I realized, I didn't decide beforehand if I wanted to open or have the lid running lengthwise on the box or have it on the short end of the box. But that's why it's called a 2-in-1 box, because you can determine which way you want it to open and shut, where that lid's going to go. So because I'd already put the tape on that one short end, I decided, all right, this box is going to open on the short end, not the long end. So think about that before you start adding your adhesive so you know exactly where to put it. So I'm just going to trim off these side flaps since I don't think I'm going to need them. But you can leave them on there, but I just thought it would make the box a little bit easier to open and shut by having the side flaps trimmed off there. So now I can go ahead and finish assembling. This is why you want to make sure you know what you're doing before you start. Adding your sticky stuff. And I love double-sided sticky tape for putting boxes together. That's the only stuff I use for boxes. It just works the best. And then I'm going to peel away the liners on that one short end and go ahead and tuck those flaps in. And it did take just a little bit of futzing, but not too much. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and reach inside there because my hand was too big to get all the way down to the end there to press that flap down. And then here you can see I had enough left over from that floral panel to use the tag that comes with the 2-in-1 box and keep a little bit of that floral pattern on my tag. And then I just popped up the die cut sentiment there with some little foam dots. I'm going to cut a little slit, and I happen to have some coppery colored twine, metallic twine in my stash that went really pretty with this rose gold foil. And then I just slipped my tag right over that bow there. And I just wanted you to see how pretty it looks, the details of that die when you hot foil stamp it. So take a look at what you have and think about what you could use to hot foil stamp with. It's really fun and it turns out so beautiful. Alrighty, thanks for watching.